Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. So, guys, we have a lot of snow over here, and we have actually a lot of rain today, and going to have extremely icy conditions in this area, in like the greater Asheville area, in western North Carolina, and in many other areas as well. It's been an interesting one, and actually, we lost power for about 13 hours. Luckily, kept the fire going all night and it was fine. It's back up to about 80 degrees in the living room with the fire cranking away. And unfortunately, we have 3 people that have been reported dead in relation to the winter storm that went through North Carolina. In Haywood County, a terminally ill woman died when her oxygen was cut off due to power outages at her home, where she was under hospice care. In Mecklenburg County, a man died when a tree fell on him, according to North Carolina emergency management officials. And in Yadkin County, a truck driver died when working to free his rig that got stuck on Interstate 77, officials said. So, Winter Storm Diego snow totals reached more than 18 inches in some areas of western North Carolina, as that's what my neighbors got just on the other side of this mountain. Whereas I think I would say 10 inches is about what we got. And if you look out there now, it only looks like about 4 inches because the rain's been coming down most of the day. But it's going to get to about 16 degrees tonight. So it's going to be uh, an icy, dangerous ride. So definitely not a good idea to go out there tonight. And this situation has been repeated in Virginia's as well. And this off the Weather Channel, weather.com. These southern U.S. cities have had more snowfall through early December than Anchorage, Alaska. And that's what we get in these times. We do get changing, shifting patterns. And so a handful of southern U.S. cities now have more snow through early December than Anchorage, Alaska, thousands of miles to the north. And Winter Storm Diego brought double-digit snowfall totals to Lubbock, Texas, 10 inches, Asheville, 11 inches, around here where I am, about 18 inches, Greensboro, North Carolina, 12 inches over the weekend. Pretty wild totals, and it's early. It's not even winter yet, right? So pretty wild stuff going on. 7 inches of snowfall in Raleigh, matches what Anchorage has had. So Raleigh, North Carolina, with the same snowfall as Anchorage, Alaska. Again, well, partly because Anchorage is way behind for the seasonal snowfall at typical totals. So, changing patterns, and we just simply must adjust. Long-lasting green fireball lights up the sky over Mexico City. We've seen a lot of those, and we have a green comet coming as well. An impressive meteor fireball lit up the night sky over Mexico City at 5:15 CST on December 8th, and the event lasted for more than 10 seconds. Could have been up to, wow, that sounds really big. So while the exact dimensions are tough to determine, speculation is it could have had a diameter of up to 500 meters. Very likely that small parts of it survived the atmospheric entry. The event was captured by Jorge Diaz Henry in New Mexico. There's a video there. That's big if that's the case. That's something that could be very scary. So ex-tropical cyclone Owen forecast to reform in the Gulf of Carpentaria in Australia. And so this storm brought heavy rain and damaging wind gusts to the north tropical coast of Queensland. Meteorologists say it's looking like the cyclone's going to reform in the Gulf of Carpentaria this week. So keep your eyes on that, my Australian friends. Paradise, California campfire flyover the day after the flight restriction was lifted. Total destruction. Several friends have mentioned, did you check out the David Wilcox video all about the Paradise fires? And I have, and if you guys are interested, check it out. Just Google Paradise fires, David Wilcox. And he has an interesting spin on it, basically saying that there was a Well, some of the residents of paradise were not of the earth, basically, saying that they were centaurans. They were actually humanoids from a different place than here. And it was an interesting one, an interesting video for sure. Many people believe in David Wilcock, and other ones don't believe in him to be an honest, legitimate source. Either way you look at it, it's very, very interesting and compelling. And it's up to each person, of course, to always make up their own mind. But what happened in paradise is utterly horrible and devastating. And there's a video here for you guys to check out. I'll let you guys click on that yourselves and look at your own wariness. It's very sad. We've seen so much destruction in this world. So just to let you know, rare brain-eating amoeba kills a woman who filled her neti pot with tap water. That's pretty damn scary. 68-year-old Seattle woman who died after contracting a rare brain-eating amoeba using regular tap water to rinse her sinuses. Okay, so plan B, no more tap water, right guys? Hey, we don't want the fluoride anyway, most definitely. So, as noted in a new International Journal of Infectious Disease case study, the infection was initially misdiagnosed as a brain tumor. During surgery to remove the suspected tumor, the lead neurosurgeon, Charles Cobbs from Seattle Swedish Medical Center, was taken aback by the extent of the brain damage, so he extracted a sample for further testing. And when I operated on this lady, a section of her brain was about the size of a golf ball, was bloody mush. There were amoebas all over the place just eating brain cells. We didn't have a clue about what was going on, but when we got the actual tissue, we could see it was the amoeba. Indeed, the ensuing biopsy report showed the woman had been infected with a rare brain-eating amoeba called Balamuthia mandrillaris. These sorts of infections are quite rare, thank God. But what's unique about this incident, it's the first case of this infection suspected from nasal lavage, according to the case study, which was authored by Swedish scientists and the doctors who worked on the case. So just using the neti pot with tap water, so the patient used tap water filtered through a store-bought water filter instead of the recommended boiled or saline water. Wow, that is a wake-up call, right guys? Most definitely. Anybody out there listening, always avoid tap water. And that's scary. And talking about scary, this is a pretty scary looking little guy too. But underneath Earth's surface, a wild menagerie of strange organisms exist. And so there's life on Earth and there's life in Earth. And the latter, overlooked for so long, is coming into focus as a wild menagerie of strange, diverse organisms are discovered. We've known for some time that life can thrive even under the surface of the planet, within the very crust beneath the ocean floor. And today a group of international scientists from the Deep Carbon Observatory reports at the American Geophysical Union's annual meeting on nearly 10 years of discovering such organisms. The life they found beneath the planet's surface expands our notion of limits and opens up new terrain in the search off the Earth for extraterrestrial life. So what kind of life are we talking about here? The deep biosphere, sometimes termed the subterranean Galapagos, is dominated by microbial life, organisms that derive their energy from rocks. Even though two types of microbes, bacteria and archaea, are the main discoveries, other types of life, including multicellular animals, have been found as well. Genetically, life below the surface is as or even more diverse than what's above. That's pretty wild. A lot of things that we still really haven't discovered yet. And so this gets into a little bit more detail on the wild types of life that exist in the Earth itself. And then that, of course, gets me thinking of all those legends of life, intelligent life, perhaps humanoid, perhaps ET, life living inside the planet as well, and according to some legends, even in cities. It's really pretty wild, really. But as it says here, how much life is there? Tons and tons, literally tons, all different types. And this is basically more of the same, just talking about the fact that they have found that the ecosystem below the Earth is twice the size of the world's oceans. That's pretty big, and that opens up a whole new can of worms, so to speak. And so guys, Christmas comet, we've talked about this in the other videos today. And is this comet a sign or a harbinger? So how to see comet 46P Wirtanen in the sky this month. And Santa's sleigh is not the only thing you're going to want to try to catch a glimpse of in the sky this month. So the Christmas comet, dubbed by some, is also set to blaze across the December sky. Come on the 16th, the comet will be just over 7 million miles from the Earth and should be visible to the naked eye, according to the University of Maryland. Comet Wirtanen Observing Campaign. The campaign predicts excellent observation conditions and said the comet should be visible most of the night around close approach in the northern and southern hemispheres. So this comet supposedly just measures 3/4 of a mile across. And so that's very small when you get down to it. The Christmas comet will put on quite a show this time around. The National Space Center in the United Kingdom explains, when the comet's at its closest and brightest to Earth, it's also being vaporized by the sun, shedding reflective dust and vapor that could make it even brighter. It will appear as a fuzzy point of light that moves across our winter sky throughout the month of December. And if you're under a clear night sky away from city lights, you should be able to spot it if you know where to look. It's going to be the 10th closest comet to come to Earth in modern times. Interesting. So let's see what this comes out to be. And, of course, comets are so often thought to be harbingers. They are a sign of something major coming. And it's what the ancients always believed. And then, of course, we have all those prophecies. And Nostradamus' words will always echo in my ears, when the comet shall run. And South America's other Easter island. So we know about Easter Island with the big statues. Well, there's also mysterious statues over here in southern Colombia. And they're finally rising from the dead after being off limits for decades. And there's so much natural beauty throughout Colombia, Peru, and South America. I have not been there. I have many close friends that have been, but I definitely would love to get down that way. And as I've shared with you guys in the past, I've even thought of, living down there, and still would not mind to basically, I would love to have just like a small cabin in the woods up here, and then something very similar somewhere down there as well. So a decade ago, this author starts out, death stalked my drive to Parque Arqueológico Nacional de Tierra Adentro. The road from the town of Popayan over Colombia's Cordillera Central Mountain Range was infamous for ambush and kidnap. Lonesome military posts hinted ominously at the presence of guerrillas. So the author gripped the wheel tightly as he negotiated the unpaved roads. And I've seen some photos how crazy those roads are. They're worse than the roads around here. Thankfully, I arrived at one of the world's largest necropolises alive. Unsurprisingly, I had vast pre-Columbian hypogea of Tierra Adentro to myself. And so when we look at this, there's amazing tombs, underground tombs. There's 162 underground tubes that were carved into solid volcanic bedrock centuries ago. And since the time of the region's subjugation by Spanish conquistadors in the 1530s, the area has been inhabited by the Nasa, an indigenous group who speak Payés. So it's an indigenous language. Little is known about the mysterious culture that flourished throughout the first millennium and then disappeared 6 centuries before the Spanish and the Nasa arrived on the scene. Although excavations began in the 1930s, archaeologists are still at a loss to explain who settled the region, where they came from, or where they went. And no one knows the relationship between the carvers of Tierra Adentro's complex shaft and chamber tombs and a 180-kilometer drive to the southwest, San Augustine's earthen tumuli, burial grounds, and hulking statues. As you see some of the statues here, and see, this is the big thing, is that we don't really know, and a lot of it's been hidden on purpose. So many discoveries have been taken and just buried, or actually, worse, just dumped off into the middle of the ocean because they don't fit in, and or they give us a different clue to who we really are, what our ancestors really have done, were doing, and how advanced the societies were. The cover-up that goes on is just immense. It's immense, and it's so large that the majority of people just can't believe in it because they can't conceive of it, but it's real. It is real, the cover-up that goes on. So there are so many mysteries all around us, and so little is truly known, and there's so many cultures that have just disappeared. And where did they go? They just seem to vanish at times, some of these cultures. And we have these amazing stone monuments left, just giving us clues that unfortunately so many organizations such as the Smithsonian purposely cover up. So my friends, as always, thumbs up to support the channel. Please do subscribe and click the bell. Make sure you get all the notifications. Share with as many people as possible. And leave your comments. Let us know what you guys think about all this. I look forward to seeing you guys again sometime very, very soon. As always, my friends, may you be blessed with abundant peace, love, health, happiness, and wellness. God bless, and namaste.